Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first informational Solairus Aviation webinar. My name is Jessica, and I'm sitting here today with Eric Wilt, Marketing Manager for Solairus Aviation. Thanks for coming in, Eric.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Great. Well, I guess I'll just start right in. I had some questions for you about Solairus in general, the aviation industry, safety, and things like that. So, in your professional opinion, what is the most powerful benefit of flying private?
The time savings. When you talk about the convenience of flying private, that's got to be number one as far as benefits go.
Definitely.
The idea that there's no security lines, there's no packed terminals.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
It's so nice. As soon as you park your car, not in a huge long-term parking lot, by the way, you can pretty much just walk right on board the jet, and when it lands, you can pretty much get right off. There's nothing to it.
Wow, that's almost hard to imagine.
Huge time savings.
Yeah,
Number one benefit easily.
great. Okay, and so a lot of people that book travel with Solaris are executive assistants who are, booking travel for their bosses and people in their company and things like that. So, in your opinion, what is the best way an executive assistant, for example, could utilize private aviation to support their boss, the executives, their
The
families?
executives,
Yeah.
absolutely. We do work with a lot of EAs, and this is a fairly common question. You know, I think how the EAs can utilize private aviation is if there's significant security concerns.
Mm.
If they fly to any sort of remote destinations that maybe the major airlines can't support.
Okay, so privacy.
Privacy is a big one. And of course, the time savings. If you're traveling with a large group of executives, you need to get work done. You don't have time to stand around in security. And so, if the EAs are working with an executive or with a family that doesn't realize this, but they know that there's a tight timeline,
Hmm.
I think they need to consider private aviation as a solution to their issue.
And okay, that makes sense. And then also the EA can save time booking the travel
Oh,
as well,
absolutely. That's
correct?
right. If they're dealing with commercial airlines and they're trying to put, let's say there's 10 different legs or it's this really long trip all over international, that can take a lot of time to build that, online or dealing with any of the individual commercial websites. With flying private, they basically just call us at Solaris and tell us where they want to go, when they want to go, and we do the rest for them. Very
Okay.
simple.
So kind of rather than going on the internet and going to all these different airlines, they can just call Solaris. It's a one-stop shop and we can take care of them that way.
Absolutely.
Okay. So if a company is considering private aviation, how could flying privately actually help their bottom line?
When you're flying private and you're saving all that time, your executive team is saving all that time, uh, you know, let's say for instance you're going from San Francisco to New York, that could take up almost an entire day just in travel alone. So your executives who have far better things to do than sit around in a busy terminal or be squished in even a first class seat with no solid Wi-Fi connection. You compare that scenario to private where the whole team can be on one plane. It's a huge benefit. And also if they're doing road shows, if they're overseas and they're hopping from factory to factory, work site to work site. It's the sort of thing you just can't pull off in a timely manner with commercial. And time is money in business, and if
Hmm.
there's one thing private aviation saves is time.
Okay. So I guess we could think of it as sort of like a traveling boardroom. People can be in a meeting room while actually in the air and traveling to their destination instead of having all that time lost in flying commercial airlines.
Absolutely, that's a great way of putting it.
What are some of the lesser known facts about chartering a private aircraft? Are there more direct routes, security, customs issues?
One of the facts that is probably the least well known about private aviation is that you're not confined to the same number of airports that you are with commercial. The private jets are, even the largest ones, are still significantly smaller than your larger airlines. And so, what that allows is the ability to fly into thousands of additional airports throughout to your ultimate destination. And I think another one that's probably not as commonly known is the idea that you can literally set the schedule. We don't tell you when we're going to leave, you tell us when we're going to leave.
Oh, wow. Okay. So when I think of private jets, I don't necessarily think of different types of aircraft. So can you speak a little bit to the different types of planes you guys have available and
There's a lot of different categories, but really to me, they all fall into four basic ones. Turboprop, which are great for regional trips. These are smaller aircraft, but they can
hmm
still seat 8 people. All the great stuff, leather seating. Pretty decent range. Really great cost-effective option if you're not flying very far.
Okay. So So for a turboprop, then something like flying from Denver to Sun Valley, Idaho during ski season or something, a short trip like that.
A short trip like that's perfect
Okay.
for a turboprop. And even though it's smaller, it still has great luggage. All your skis would fit, your golf clubs would fit. Perfect
Okay.
plane for that sort of shorter trip with not a lot of people on board.
Okay.
And then after turboprop, you sort of move up the ladder into light jets, and light jets are very similar to turboprop, even that they're great for regional trips, but they're significantly faster.
Okay. Okay. So obviously, I guess being faster, if we want to get somewhere in a shorter amount of
You
time,
want to
we
get there
would,
quickly.
yeah. So something like Los Angeles to Cabo if we're going down for a meeting or more likely a
That's right.
party
And
weekend.
Los Angeles to Cabo on a light jet could possibly just take just a little over 2 hours.
Wow.
And think
Okay.
about that. Not only is it just 2 hours in flight, but you don't have to get to the airport an hour and a half early. You don't have to take your shoes off. You don't have to do any of that. So your total travel time from outside of your car to inside of your rental,
It's
just
just
a
over
few
two
hours.
hours.
Just over
Wow.
2 hours. And then I think what a lot of people probably start to think of when they think of private jets is our mid-size and the super mids, and that's when you can start going coast to coast. And you're getting serious amenities at that point. You're getting, full kitchens. You're getting full bathrooms, changing rooms, Wi-Fi connectivity.
Which is
Really,
great on those longer trips that you do have those
absolutely,
comforts and conveniences.
absolutely. You can, some of the seats even convert to beds if you're sleepy. It's really when
Oh,
you're starting getting into that, what I think a lot of people imagine a private jet experience is like.
that sounds amazing. Okay, so for example, if we wanted to go San Francisco to New York or something cross country, then the
That's what
mid size would
the
be what
mid
we
and the super
want.
mid. That's about the first time you can do that type of trip nonstop. I mean, obviously the light jets and the turboprops, you can, go point. You can stop in the middle. You can,
And you stop to refuel.
you stop to refuel. And there's
Okay.
things like that. But so it's possible to go coast to coast like that. But it's not really the kind of experience that we would advocate.
But on the mid and super mid, you don't have to
You
stop
don't
to
have to
refuel.
stop
You can
coast to
just go
coast,
straight there.
straight there. Absolutely, and all the amenities you could want. Really great option for that type of flight.
Okay.
And then the last is probably what I think a lot of people see in videos and in movies and what they think of when they think of private jet, and that's your large cabin, your Gulfstream
Mm-hmm.
G550s, your Global Express, 18 passengers, full beds, boardroom tables,
Wow.
really anything you can think of.
Okay, so that's more, a house in the air, something
It's
like that.
it's an apartment in the air, it's a boardroom in the air, like you said earlier.
Okay, so if I want to do something longer, maybe San Francisco to Maui or something like that,
San
then this
Francisco
would
to
be a
Maui,
good.
absolutely great trip for a large cabin. Some of the super mids can do that as well.
Mm-hmm.
What's really great for a large cabin long range is when you start talking about international, crossing the oceans.
Oh, okay.
Yep, yep.
Okay,
That's
so
when you have to get
if
into
we
that
need to
range.
go New York to Paris or something like
Yep.
that,
Then
then
you're in
we're
a
going to
large
want a
cabin
large
and,
cabin.
and you're loving it.
Another big thing that I wanted to ask you about today is safety because, with flying aviation, safety is a really big concern for people. And I know Solaris takes some really extreme measures to make sure that your guys' aircraft is as safe as possible.
Absolutely. And our CEO Dan Drowan always lets us know that safety is the number one service that we can provide.
I like that.
I like,
Safety is the number
it
one
really is. It
service.
doesn't matter, you talk about Wi-Fi or range or, if we have to get the people from A to B safely, our ground crew has to be safe. Everyone involved, there's so much at stake, it's got to be safe. It's a
Okay.
continuous effort towards making everything better. And to that end, we actually subject ourselves to third-party audits. We pay people to come in and evaluate us and judge us on how we're doing, what are our processes and procedures like, and it's completely objective. We can't pay for the certifications. We have to
Oh,
earn
okay.
them,
Okay, so
and you
it's
could
not
fail. You could fail them.
okay, so it's not something Solaris can just call up and say, "Hey, I want to buy this seal," and then you get the
Absolutely,
seal of
it's
approval.
that's 100% correct. They these third-party audits. They come out. They spend a few weeks with us. They pour over all of our records. They talk to our senior executives, pilots, people on the line. We've actually earned three of the industry's most rigorous standards: the Argus Platinum-Rated, which puts us in the 99th percentile of the charter operators in the
Wow.
world. Very difficult to get. We're IS-BAO Stage Three certified, and then the final one that we've gotten about a year ago was Wyvern Wingman certified.
Okay, so it sounds like, this keeps you guys on your toes as far as safety is concerned. It's not something where, you're audited once in 2006 and you get the
That's right.
certification. They can take it away. They need to keep auditing and giving it to you.
The audits, it's a perpetual process.
Okay.
Yep. Every year we go through it again, make sure we're as safe as we can be and that we're striving to be even safer in the future.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. I think that is it for the questions I have for you, Eric. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about Solaris?
Well, I think if you want to learn more, it would be great if everyone would visit our website at solaris.aero. And on the front page, you can download what we have is a dedicated charter guidebook,
Okay.
which will give you more information about all the different aircraft, our safety procedures, and it's just a really good resource to have to learn everything you need to know about chartering your first trip.
Okay, great. Well, thanks so much for coming in. That was very informative. And I think you have an 800 number as well.
It's 1-800-359-7861. Give us a call.
All right. Well, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Booking a private jet can be hard. Confusing options, strange jargon, and so many questions. Isn't there an easier way to do this? Yes, there is. Email or call Solairus Aviation today. You'll be assigned a dedicated charter consultant who will help you with everything. Visit us this weekend at the Behind Every Leader conference and learn about special discounts for EAO members.